very extensive opinion polls for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Sudhanshu Mittal, a psephologist of sorts in his own capacity, is joining us on this broadcast. Sudhanshu, look at this data, and this indicates very clearly that amongst the upper caste, while the BJP has a gap, the gap is rather narrow, but as you move down the caste pyramid, amongst the minorities, amongst also the Dalits, amongst the OBCs, a yawning gap between the AAP and the BJP. What are you making of these numbers, Sudhanshu?
Rahul, if you look at the vote share we've got, that would clearly indicate what is being stated here. You see, traditionally, the minorities and the scheduled caste vote belong to the Congress. The decimation of Congress has led to the vote being transferred from Congress to Aam Aadmi Party, which is a fact. See, though we can draw
so I'm glad that, you're one of the few BJP spokespersons who hasn't been in denial. You're accepting reality for what it is, and the numbers are so strong that you really cannot avoid reality. But tell me, why did the BJP end up so badly? Why did the master strategist miscalculate this election at every turn?
See, Rahul, this election can be viewed in the context of either 2013 or 2014. Some people will say, look, 2013 we had 34%, now we have 32%, we haven't lost much, but I will not take refuge behind this. To me, the last expression was 46% in Lok Sabha, and now we have come down to 32%. So I have to be reflective about it. I have to think what happened.
Very convenient. You cannot compare a Lok Sabha election with an assembly election. The comparison has to be an assembly to assembly comparison. And in that, the Aam Aadmi Party has jumped from 29% to above 50%. It's about 54.5%. That's almost a 25% jump in AAP vote share. That is significant. That's not something that you see electorally ordinarily.
Rahul, in fact, the electoral jump from 32% to 52% is significant, even in comparison to Lok Sabha. For BJP, I don't want to take refuge behind the fact that 34% is what we had in 2013, and now we have 32%. So I can conveniently say, look, we have not lost our vote share. No, that's not true. Because if this mandate is what it is, which we are all seeing, then we have to say that, look, somewhere, when there were 46% of people supporting us in Lok Sabha, why is it that only 32% people are supporting us?
Manisha Priyam, make of the fact that 2/3 of the voters like Modi as Prime Minister and yet don't want Modi's party to be ruling the very city in which he lives. Yeah.
Rahul, it is very obvious for the simple reason that for eight months in Delhi, the central government had its rule by way of the Lieutenant Governor and the police establishment here. In this interim period, we failed to do something substantive, which on a comparative note from the 49 days government of Mr. Kejriwal could establish that we can deliver a better job. See, this is the criticality. The failure of doing substantive work for the people in this interim 8 months period has costed us very heavy. You see, all along it went on whether we are forming the government, we are not forming the government. Fundamentally, immediately after the Lok Sabha, we should have gone in for election. The delay in election has really been to our deterrent. Secondly, the fact that continuously there was whether are we forming, we are not forming, yes, no. This also put off the voters. And thirdly, as I said, 8 months of center supervised governance in Delhi did not deliver anything so substantive that people will believe that instead of Mr. Kejriwal, we will do a better job. And that's really costed us heavy. So, this election has certainly been
we've seen some admissions finally from Sudhanshu Mittal, who says that we wasted our time trying to figure out whether or not to form the government. We didn't decide on the critical aspect of what needed to be done. Manisha Priyam, in hindsight, not changing the Lieutenant Governor, keeping Najib Jung on, actually doing nothing. If you look at the BJP ad that they put out before voting on why people should vote for the BJP, apart from that promise about the LED bulbs, there was nothing there for Delhi, and that was the strongest reason why nobody should be voting for the BJP in Delhi.
In hindsight, the BJP needed a local unit. It needed local leadership that was its own, a party that has been in the city for so long, over 67, as long as we've been independent, the BJP has had its own unit here, decides to import just a leader I mean, all of this speaks of crisis of leadership. A party should have been speaking to the cadre. I mean, look at Kiran Bedi, doesn't speak to the people, doesn't speak to the cadre, a cut and paste job. What do you convey to the electorate which is so mature, which has seen
Sudhanshu, are you
so
also
much
prepared to concede that bringing Kiran Bedi in was a disaster?
Weak party.
That it completely boomeranged on your party?
Rahul, as I said, one was the 8 months delay. Second, the failure of doing something substantive. Third, our election preparedness was not in tune with what Aam Aadmi Party was doing. 4 months before the election, they announced their candidates. We could only do that 19 days before the election. And the leadership is
No, but that's true. Did Arvind Kejriwal give you... No, one second. Sudhanshu, I'm glad to see such candor. But did Arvind Kejriwal stop you from declaring your candidates or from not doing enough for the people of Delhi? Why weren't these things done?
Rahul, that's what I'm saying. These are the points for us to ponder and, and
their voices are not being heard. The reality is that power got so greatly centralized in BJP. Every decision was being taken at the top. There was no delegation of power. There was no delegation of responsibility. This party tried to build a cosmetic leadership at the expense of the established leadership at the state level.
And Rahul,
that is where you paid the price.
Rahul, and he made Mr. Mittal made a very significant statement here. He says that we failed to do anything substantive. So in 9 months, he admits that 9 months were wasted. And, you know, I think the biggest setback, the problem for the BJP, and if they don't watch out, it could extend beyond Delhi's, is that the Shining India campaign, they're getting associated again.
Is that a fear, Chetan, that they created this notion of Shining India through Pramod Mahajan, that boomerang? Now you've got the fear of a Prime Minister who goes and hobnobs with corporates, but the government feels he's not shining anymore.
That hangs out.
I mean, you know, he's flying too high.
Rahul, it's a wrong reading. Rahul, it's a wrong reading.
Sudhanshu, allow our pundits to give a reading as well, please. I'm coming back to you. You've had an opportunity. Let Chetan speak. I'm coming to you, Sudhanshu.
It's your day to take feedback, Sudhanshu. Right?
At least do it now.
So, I think, at least now, listen, so he's flying too high for the average BJP Karyakarta. That whole Barack thing, it doesn't... People feel like he's not listening and he's flying too high and he needs to come down to earth.
But isn't that Modi style? I mean, you take it or you leave it.
There is a limit. You know, there's a limit to flamboyance, and it's only flamboyance. And where is the Modi who used to connect with youth, with students, used to hang out with them? What are changed for the education policy of the country?
College he went to.
Yeah,
he went to before the campaign.
Yeah, before the campaign. Has he gone to you? Has he asked people about anything?
The Modi of today is the antithesis of the Modi people elected in 2014.
Mr. Bhagat, 67% are still endorsing him.
And you know, by...
No, but Sudhanshu, answer the most substantive point that Chetan makes, that the Prime Minister now comes across as being too flamboyant, as being too corporates, as being anti the Aam Aadmi image that he portrayed in the build-up to the elections. He's suddenly gone from being Chaiwala
to a Khas Aadmi.
To a Lutyens Delhi Khas Aadmi, which is what he said he wouldn't be.
He's an outsider.
One second.
Rahul, if that was true, just can I answer?
Yes, please.
If that was true, you would not have had 65, 66% people still endorsing Mr. Modi. You said this was a phenomenon of Delhi government. When I was explaining this, I was saying in the period of 8 months, the Delhi government did not deliver anything substantial, be it on electricity, be it on water, be it on the housing, be it on the issues of Delhiites. Was there the infrastructure here?
No, but when you say that it's a failure of the BJP state unit, I don't agree with it, because this is what Prime Minister Modi said, Manisha, that he would change. That if he were to get an opportunity to be in power, things would change. Isn't मुझे मौका दे देखो. And 8 months later, 9 months later, people think things haven't changed. That doesn't work well.
Delhi has two other power points within the central government: the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Urban Development. And Najib Jung, as a Lieutenant Governor, is directly under the eye of the centre. So if things were not being done, what is it for today the party to admit that this was not done in the eight months?
Mr. Modi keeps
so why was it allowed to?
He knows which bureaucrat
why
to
was
keep,
it allowed
who to fire.
He just seemed to have his eye off the Delhi ball.
Officially, the Delhi
because
government
he was travelling to Sydney, he was travelling to New York.
How many votes are you going to get by going to Fiji?
No, but surely, no, but one second. Is that then a problem with centralization? Surely it's not the Prime Minister's responsibility to take care of sewers, lights,
maybe not, but
roads,
then
there isn't enough
centralization.
But then you should delegate.
Absolutely.
Choose the right people.
You give people the opportunity to do so.
MHA and the Ministry of UD do most of this stuff for Delhi government anyway.
Will we see murmurs of dissent become stronger in the BJP after this? We've seen Amit Shah and Modi run the party with a very firm grip. The likes of Sushma Swaraj, the likes of Rajnath Singh are largely sidelined. And the several others who feel slighted and cut out and left out of this whole party, will we see murmurs gain strength by and by amongst these disenchanted leaders, Sudhanshu?
I see a reflective party doing introspection and doing course correction. This is certainly a wake-up call, and why the people have not endorsed us, though we were likely to be endorsed, is something which is very worrisome, and that's what the party is going to seriously look at. We are not, we are not taking refuge behind any explanation which may be logical in terms of statistics. We are looking at a defeat, a monumental defeat. I must congratulate Aam Aadmi Party for this monumental victory, and I must wish them good luck. They must serve the people of Delhi, and we must cooperate with them. So, we have to get into a very positive political mode, and we have to be reflective. We have to look at what went wrong. These are the administrative steps which we should have taken. We did not.
But do you think he has the personality, Chetan, to be able to change track now, Modi?